Good morning, everyone. The big question on everyone's mind. What's this winter going to be like in New York City? This year, expect a winter that's a bit milder than average, with less snow than usual. We're not talking about sunbathing in January, but those bone-chilling cold snaps should be fewer. Temperatures will lean warmer, with more manageable stretches between cold days. Snowfall? The outlook is for below-average totals. No record-breaking blizzards expected. We'll still see some snow, but the legendary city-stopping storms are unlikely. All of this is tied to global weather patterns, especially changes in the Pacific Ocean. Stick with me as we break down what's driving this forecast and what it means for your winter. Let's talk about La Niña, a climate phenomenon that starts thousands of miles away in the Pacific Ocean, but has a ripple effect that reaches all the way to our doorsteps here in New York and across the globe. This year, La Niña is the main driver behind the winter forecast, shaping the kind of weather we'll experience over the next few months. La Niña happens when the surface waters of the Pacific Ocean near the equator become cooler than average. This cooling might seem small, but it's powerful enough to shift weather patterns not just locally, but all around the world. When the Pacific cools, it changes the behavior of the jet stream, a fast-moving river of air high above us that acts like a steering wheel for storms and weather systems. During La Niña winters, the jet stream tends to dip and rise in dramatic waves. This means the northern U.S. often gets hit with colder, stormier weather, while the southern states see warmer and drier conditions. These shifts can lead to big swings in temperature and precipitation, sometimes from one week to the next. New York City sits right in the battleground between these two competing patterns. Some years we get buried in snow. Other years, we see more rain and mild spells. This tug-of-war makes forecasting especially challenging for meteorologists. This year, La Niña is on the weaker side, which means its signals are more subtle. That opens the door for other factors to play a bigger role, like the polar vortex, which can send blasts of Arctic air our way, or even sudden stratospheric warming events that can flip the script on our weather. So, what does all this mean for us? We're expecting a milder, less snowy winter overall, but that doesn't mean we'll escape snow entirely. There will still be chances for wintry weather, just not as frequent or as intense as in some past years. Every storm's track will matter more than ever, and even a small shift could mean the difference between rain, sleet, or a surprise snowstorm. That's why meteorologists will be watching each system closely, ready to update the forecast as new data comes in, so you can be prepared for whatever this unpredictable winter brings. To truly grasp what a weak La Niña means for New York City, let's take a closer look at how recent winters have played out. Each year the city braces for the cold, but the amount of snow and the overall winter experience can vary dramatically, depending on the larger climate patterns at play. La Niña, a climate phenomenon that influences weather across the globe, is one of the key drivers behind these changes. But its effects aren't always straightforward. In the winter of 2022-2023, for example, a strong La Niña was in effect. Many New Yorkers expected a classic snowy season, but what actually happened was quite the opposite. Central Park recorded just 2.3 inches of snow all winter, one of the lowest totals in the city's history. The park's familiar paths and lawns, usually blanketed in white, remained mostly bare, and the city's iconic winter scenes were noticeably absent. It was a season that left snow lovers disappointed and puzzled. Contrast that with the winter of 2017 to 2018. That year, a weak La Niña was in place, and yet, Central Park saw over 40 inches of snow, well above the city's average. Snowstorms swept through, transforming the city into a winter wonderland multiple times. The difference between these two winters shows just how unpredictable La Niña's impact can be, and how it doesn't always follow a simple pattern of strong equals more snow or less snow. Fast forward to last winter, when another weak La Niña was present. This time, Central Park received about 13 inches of snow. That's below the city's normal average, but it was enough to bring a few classic snowy days. While it wasn't a record-breaking season, it also wasn't a total snow drought. The city experienced a mix of mild days and a handful of memorable snowfalls, reminding us that even a weak La Niña can deliver surprises. These examples highlight just how much variability La Niña brings to New York's winters. Its influence depends not only on its strength but also on other factors, like the timing of storms, the position of the jet stream, and even random chance. Some years, a single powerful storm can make all the difference, while other years pass quietly with barely a dusting. So, what can we expect this year? With another weak La Niña in the forecast, the most likely scenario is a winter similar to last year's, some snow, but probably nothing major. We might see a few picturesque days with snow on the ground, but the odds of a blockbuster blizzard are low. Still, as history shows, there's always room for surprises. La Niña sets the stage for the season, shaping the overall pattern, but it doesn't write the entire script. All it takes is one or two well-timed storms to turn an average winter into a memorable one. The city's weather can shift quickly, and even the best forecasts can be upended by a sudden change in the atmosphere. That's why forecasts are best seen as guides, not guarantees. Meteorologists use the latest data and models to make predictions, but nature always has the final say. Each winter is a new story, shaped by countless variables that can't always be predicted, and that's the real challenge and the excitement of winter weather in New York City. Whether it's a season of snowstorms or mild days, each winter brings its own surprises, keeping New Yorkers guessing and always ready for whatever comes next. Here's what you want to know. We're forecasting 15 to 20 inches of snow for NYC this winter. That's well below the usual 25 to 30 inches. Expect a handful of snow events, mostly minor with maybe one moderate storm. Blockbuster blizzards are unlikely this year. This is a seasonal forecast, so we can't say exactly when the snow will fall. You'll still need your shovel, but probably not as often. Snow lovers may be disappointed, but for those who dread shoveling, it's good news. And if you want a true winter wonderland, you won't have to travel far. While NYC gets less snow, areas just north, like the Catskills and Hudson Valley, are in for a snowy season. The jet stream will steer storms right over these regions, bringing frequent and significant snowfall. Ski resorts in the Catskills and Vermont should have a great winter. Expect several feet of snow up north compared to our 15 to 20 inches. This is classic La Niña, a snow-starved coast, snow-rich interior. If you want deep snow, plan a weekend trip north. It's the best of both worlds. Less disruption in the city, plenty of snow nearby. Most of our storms this winter will come from the north, fast-moving systems called Alberta Clippers. These bring quick bursts of snow and cold, but rarely big accumulations. For NYC to get significant snow, storms need to track south of us, locking in cold air. This winter, most storms will pass just north, putting us on the warmer side. That means more mixed precipitation. Snow changing to sleet or rain. Areas just north of the city will get more snow, while we see slush or rain. The northern storm track is why our snow totals will be low. Still, every storm is different, so we'll keep an eye out for surprises. When we talk about winter in New York City, we can't forget about nor'easters, those massive coastal storms that have shaped some of the city's most unforgettable winters. These powerful systems are responsible for NYC's biggest snowfalls, sometimes blanketing the city in a matter of hours, and bringing life to a standstill. Nor'easters are named for the strong northeast winds that batter the coast, and they can bring a mix of snow, rain, sleet, and fierce winds, depending on their track and the temperature. Even in a winter that's been relatively mild, we can still expect to see 1 to 3 nor'easters threaten the area. These storms don't need cold air to be dangerous. Sometimes, it's the wind and rain that cause the most disruption, flooding streets and knocking out power. The Atlantic Ocean acts as a fuel source, providing moisture and energy that can rapidly intensify these storms as they move up the coast. The key to how much snow we get is all about the storm's track. If the center of the storm hugs the coast just right, cold air wraps in and we get a classic blizzard, heavy snow, howling winds, and whiteout conditions. But if the storm tracks a little farther offshore, or if warmer air sneaks in, we might see mostly rain and gusty winds instead. It's a delicate balance, and even a small shift can mean the difference between a snow day and a soggy commute. This year, with milder air in place, even the nor'easters that do form may bring more rain or slush than the deep powdery snow we've seen in the past. Streets could turn into rivers of slush, and parks might see a messy mix of rain and melting snow instead of a winter wonderland. Still, the city's weather can change quickly, and surprises are always possible. It's important to remember that it only takes one perfectly placed nor'easter to change the entire season. A single storm can dump a foot or more of snow, snarl traffic, and create memories that last for years. These storms are unpredictable, and their impact can be felt long after the snow has stopped falling. Nor'easters can develop quickly, sometimes intensifying overnight into what meteorologists call bomb cyclones, storms that rapidly strengthen and unleash their full fury on the city. The combination of heavy precipitation, strong winds, and coastal flooding can make these events especially hazardous for everyone in their path. That's why meteorologists and city officials stay on high alert whenever the forecast models hint at coastal storm development. Preparation is key, whether it's getting sandbags ready, clearing storm drains, or making sure emergency crews are on standby. The city's response can make a big difference in how we weather the storm. While nor'easters may be rare this year, they're never out of the question. The weather can turn on a dime, and even a quiet winter can be interrupted by a sudden, powerful storm. It's this unpredictability that keeps New Yorkers watching the skies and checking the forecast. Nor'easters are the wild cards of winter, capable of turning a peaceful season into a memorable one overnight. Whether it's snow, rain, or wind, these storms remind us just how dynamic and dramatic New York City's weather can be. The polar vortex is the wild card, an Arctic swirl of cold air over the North Pole. Most winters, it stays locked up north, keeping us milder, but if it weakens or splits, Arctic air can plunge south, bringing intense cold snaps. These outbreaks can override the mild La Niña pattern for a week or two. Predicting them is tough, but we'll see the signs a few weeks out. Even in a mild winter, keep your heavy coat handy for those brief, brutal cold spells. These cold snaps are usually dry, but dangerously cold. The polar vortex can always surprise us, so stay prepared. So, what's the bottom line for NYC this winter? Expect a milder than average season with 15 to 20 inches of snow, less than usual, similar to last year. Fewer major disruptions, but still some cold days and snow events. Nor'easters are less likely but always possible. One big storm can change everything. The polar vortex could bring brief, intense cold snaps, so don't pack away your warmest gear. If you love snow, plan trips north for a true winter experience. For most of us, it'll be a manageable winter. Some cold, some mild, some rain, and some snow. Stay prepared but don't panic. We'll keep you updated all season long, so you're always ahead of the storm.